Self-improvement is killing Gen Z by Suburbanwill. Yeah, we're gonna look at this. I like to react to his videos, even though we don't really agree on all of the stuff. But anyways, we're gonna look at this. Also, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. Yes, that is indeed true. Gen Z is doing that, in fact. In fact, it's been quite bad, right? Looks maxing, right? Actually just looks maxing. Hustle culture, right? People working themselves to death at this point, right? We're at this time as well, though to be fair, can't really expect to get anywhere if you don't actually do anything. So like, yeah. Anyways, let's go in.
I recently found out that YouTube sometimes classifies my channel under self-improvement, and that a lot of the time, my videos can be found alongside other self-improvement related content in the recommended feed, which is funny, because some days I genuinely wake up at 4 p.m. I don't really consider my videos life advice because I don't think I'm someone who's in a position to be giving life advice. Just like you guys, I'm also trying to figure things out. My videos are more like me openly reflecting on my own experiences with things and just talking about some of the things I've learned along the way. I do think it's cool that despite that, many people have found my videos helpful in their personal lives. I think we're all at that age where everyone is trying to become a better version of themselves. Especially when you look at the world around you, it feels like a lot of things are out of our control. But the one thing you can control is yourself. So while you may not be able to make the world better overnight, the simple solution is to start by bettering yourself. Everyone wants to make a change, whether that be
The problem is, right? The problem is that first of all, people aren't doing the right things, right? They're not doing the right things, which is an issue when it comes to actually improving something. They don't figure out, right? Especially when you look at like people who are constantly miserable, and you can tell when somebody's constantly miserable because they will tell you that they're miserable, right? Especially people with victim complexes. They refuse to do the changes that actually would help them. For example, there's a lot of people who have people in their life that make them miserable, but they refuse to cut them out of their life. Anyways, Mr. Beast got another 500 million subscriber play button given by YouTube CEO himself. Can't wait for 1 billion subscribers. Play button, but hi. Hi, Zoom, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. The YouTube CEO can fuck off.
getting in shape, reinventing your wardrobe, trying to find a partner, making more money, or even finally deciding to chase your dreams. Working on yourself is something everyone should do. But unfortunately, like a lot of things, it gets a lot more complicated than that when it comes to our generation. But before we continue, today's video is sponsored by Opera. I've recently started using Opera as my main web browser, and it's honestly changed my experience for the better. I know a lot of people don't think too hard about what
Chinese spyware. Technically the same as Brave, but I don't kind of care. The only good thing that Opera has brought is the Opera VTuber, and that's literally it. Right, that's it. That's lit. That's it.
web browser they're using, as long as it allows them to get on YouTube and watch a grown man make anime PNG animations. But Opera has a ton of features that have improved my overall quality of life and have honestly even made me more productive. I have a bad habit of going on Wikipedia binges, and one quick search can quickly turn into 20 tabs of reading about kangaroos or the origin of life. Opera actually groups these tabs into tab islands so that I don't get lost and can quickly jump back to doing what I was originally doing. And if I want, I can organize them myself, like world history or clothes I want but can't afford, or whatever else I'm working on. You can name each group, color code them so they're easy to spot, and even collapse or expand them to keep things clean. So instead of a chaotic mess of tabs, everything's neatly organized and way easier to navigate. Another thing I like about Opera is that it looks good, but not only that, it has fully customizable browser themes too. Dark mode, light mode, animated backgrounds, custom sound effects, and even more than that. I've been using the Obsidian theme lately. But on top of being more secure and efficient, Opera also has an integrated player. So when you're listening to music, you don't have to keep switching windows and tabbing in and out. You can also detach it and move it anywhere on your screen, even outside the browser, so it's always accessible. It also automatically pauses itself when you start listening to something else, like watching a video. So you can keep watching your favorite creators while also getting work done. Download Opera using my link in the description or in the pinned comment to upgrade the way you use the internet. Thanks again to Opera for sponsoring today's video.
The only reason I would need such a feature is because I work on my art mutations, and then I like to see some stuff. Anyways,
And now, back to business. I don't really think this is a secret to anyone, but there is a very toxic side of self-improvement culture for young people, especially for young men. I think it's easy to laugh at some of the more ridiculous examples out there, but under the surface, I do think a lot of us are deeply hurting on an emotional level. Feeling like you're not good enough is something I've talked about a lot on this channel, and it's a feeling many of us can relate to. A lot of people feel like they're falling behind in the various areas of life, professionally, socially, and even physically. And when that pressure starts to get to you, inadequacy can start to turn into...
oddly enough, you know what the crazy thing is there? Technically, that's not true. Right? All this like gym and right culture is technically just a psyop. We have the data showing the opposite. We see people getting fatter and fatter and fatter. We actually don't see a reversed trend. We may see it online, but let's face it, a lot of us are consuming like self-improvement stuff, but we're not actually doing anything, right? We're not actually working on anything. It's just like it makes us feel good, and then we feel like we have done something, right? It just like, you know, your dopamine hit, and then you just continue normally, right? A lot of us don't actually do anything. That's just a harsh truth. So yes, people are falling physically behind. Overall, we're all getting fatter and fatter. America.
insecurity, which is why I think it's important to understand that when it comes to self-improvement, there's a big difference between self-love versus self-hate. And sadly, a lot of young people hate themselves. You might hate the way you look, or maybe hate the situation you're currently in. You want to make a change not because you love yourself and think you deserve better, but because you hate who you are and you want that part of you to die. But I just don't think that's healthy. Self-improvement is self-care, not self-sacrifice. Growth does require discomfort, but you shouldn't be actively harming yourself as a part of the process. Hey bro, have you seen my hammer? I need to... I can't tell if you need some help or some privacy. Bro, I'm just bone smashing to improve my facial structure. A guy on TikTok said my cheekbones are too feminine to attract women. There are a lot of things about you that repel women, but I don't think your cheekbones are it. Don't be mad at me because you're not disciplined enough for looks maxing. You can keep being a sub-6 chud and get mogged. First of all, I'm at least a 6.5. Second, I need my hammer back. Fine. I'll start my jelk maxing routine until you're done. You're what? So basically, I take my hand and put it around my... You know what? I'm good. The problem with self-hate...
What the fuck? That's a new one? I've never heard of this one, right? I know, I obviously get the hammer thing, right? I obviously get the hammer thing. I've seen it, right? The hammer thing, right? With like clavicula. Honestly, I think that a lot of this is actually just a result of what's the word you'd use? Growing nihilism in our society, right? We like how do you say it? We are the mouse utopia, right? We are the mouse utopia.
Is that eventually you start projecting that hate onto the world and the people around you. And this makes you vulnerable to bad actors who want to take advantage of you. Self-improvement scams have been around since they were selling people snake oil in the 1800s. It's just now, instead of snake oil, it's an online course. Millennials had Ty Lopez in his garage with that new Lamborghini, and now Gen Z is being brainwashed by TikTok larpers telling you to drop out of college and start dropshipping. The world feels a little extra bitter these days because we're realizing a lot of the traditional paths aren't really getting us anywhere. So a lot of people want to take advantage of that frustration and use it to get you to buy what they're selling as a solution. I remember when I was in college, there was this thing called Forex, and nearly everybody I knew was trying to get me to join, and they give you the same pitch every single time. Hey bro, you should sign up for Forex with me. I'm gonna be making so much money. You're gonna be making so much money? Well, yeah, I haven't started it yet, but I just paid this guy $200 to sign up. And if I get 2 other people to sign up for $200, I make my $200 back and get $200 profit. Wait, so you paid some guy $200 just to sign up? Well, yeah, but you get added to a group chat and get to learn all the secrets of currency trading. Okay, so how much money have they made? Well, I don't know, but they say they've made a lot, and they've made this money from trading. Well, trading and signing other people up. So let me get this straight. You pay a guy $200 to sign up, Then you recruit 2 other people who pay you $200 to sign up, and then they recruit 2 more people each. Yeah, exactly. Bro, that's a pyramid scheme. No, they said it's called building a network. Don't you know anything about business? I think I'll pass for now. I think young men are especially vulnerable to this. And I think it's the real reason why a lot of toxic ideology is starting to become a lot more popular with young men. Many guys feel like they're falling behind in the world, like their lives don't matter, jobs don't need.
Oh no, it's not a feel. They are. Like, it's not a they feel like they fall behind. They are falling behind. Like, they are. They are. Like, there's no argument to be made, right? More homelessness, more men checking out of society, the suicide rates are climbing. We have more school dropouts than ever before. This is mostly men. Men are getting paid less. More and more, right? Companies are preferring women overall. Parents prefer to raise girls in comparison to boys. Like, men are definitely falling behind. There's no argument to be made, and there's nothing to fix it because there's nothing to be gained. Right? There's nothing to be gained. It's just the truth, right? Can't afford a home, can't afford a girlfriend, can't afford a wife, can't afford can't afford kids, can't afford a car, can't afford a driver's license. What do you do? What do you do? That is a harsh reality. That is not a feeling. That is happening. That is happening. Right? We have the data on this. That's happening. That's just true. And obviously dating is one of the major drivers. And there needs to be something said that people don't want to hear that is that we are equal, quote unquote, right? We want to strive for equality, but not on a social level. That means, right, for dating, women still prefer overall. They can say all they want, how they disagree with that, but the data and IRL experience don't show that. Women overall still prefer a man that makes more. But you can't prefer a man that makes more if you're supposed to make the same. So we're cooked now. Right? Not to mention that now, right, the ladies have fought for freedom, which, cool, good for them, right? Financial freedom. Or rather the right to choose, but now they're no longer able to choose, right? We went from women should be able to choose whether or not they want to be, for example, stay-at-home moms, whether they want to be working, whatever, right? We moved that away from that, and now we're like more like you have to work. Which obviously results in a slight problem is that now, right, we are in a position where schools are raising our children, but boys fall behind in school, meaning that our boys are now in a system that damages them more than it actually helps. Without the parents being in there without the parents having their hand in there to raise them. Because let's face it, if both parents are working, the child is no longer really spending time with their parents. Like, that's just the reality. Right?
Need you. Women don't need you. The world doesn't need you. And a lot of these people on the internet are really good.
Well, they are telling us that. They are indeed telling us that they're like, you can just like go on TikTok. It's just like post of like women saying like how they hate men, how they don't need men. Yeah, right. We have that. Like, we have that. Young men are being told that. So how this happened is we said masculinity bad. Right? Not specific aspects, but masculinity overall bad. The future is female. Okay. So we made that, right? We don't have or masculinity is toxic. Now we don't have anything to replace that. You basically said men are not allowed to be men, but you don't put up anything to replace that. And now we're here. Now we're here. It's a bit cooked. It's a bit cooked.
At telling young men exactly what they want to hear. A lot of men feel under attack and are looking for any relief from the hostility.
That's not a feeling. That's a reality. That's a reality. Men are constantly under attack. We have it here constantly, right? It's like, men are the problem, right? Men commit all the crime. Well, have we looked at the statistics of which men are doing that? Yeah.
I'm going to say that they see us trying and that they respect us. Traditionally, men gain respect by earning money, supporting their families, and being leaders. But for our generation, where it's hard for young people to find careers, it's hard to support yourself, let alone a family, and where older generations refuse to give young people a chance to lead, men feel devalued and lost. People often talk about an us versus them mentality being something dividing our generation, but for men, it often feels more like me versus everybody. So men are led down paths where we reject community and see ourselves as being at war with the world and everyone else in it. I've noticed that a lot of Gen Z guys genuinely believe that you have to give up your life just to date or get married. There's this jaded view that other people are problems to be solved instead of allies against the same struggle. So we end up losing the plot and take the self out of self-improvement. I've spoken before.
Ironically, the men and women essentially suffer from the exact same problems from, like, when it comes to actually also dying. Like, right? It really is just like health issues and sewer slide. The problem is that it's for men much higher. Like, it's much higher. It's outrageously higher. So, right? It's like crazy how we have a slight problem with the male sewer slide rates. They are likely much higher. Like, they're much higher because a lot of accidents might actually be sewer slide attempts that were fucked up. Where the one trying it fucked up. So it could be that a lot of some sewer slides are accidents, actually, by nature, and some accidents are actually sewer slides. That's another issue. We have a lot of issues here, and women actually have the same thing. It's hilarious, in a way, because we technically, right, we're fighting each other, but we technically suffer from the exact same issues. It's interesting. Or like, maybe not from the exact same, but like we have the same issues when it comes to like survival.
About how some people will take the message of self-improvement and use it to pick at your insecurities. They make you question yourself so that you look to them for the answer, creating a problem so that you buy their solution. It's like when you take your car to the shop for an oil change and the mechanic tells you there's something wrong with your engine too. But the truth is that these are almost never the solution you're really looking for. Come on. Nice, bro. Good set. You're gonna be swole in no time. Yeah, maybe once I'm jacked, the ladies will finally want me. What? Nah, bro, you got it all wrong. Huh? But on Trad and Chat, they said girls only like guys with big muscles. Nah, bro. Everyone knows that you don't lift weights to impress girls. You lift weights to impress other dudes. Hey, man, nice muscles. Thanks, bro. Hey, I'm trying to get like you. Wait, so girls don't actually like super ripped dudes? Yeah, bro. You gotta understand the female gaze.
We have a slight problem here. We have a slight problem here. We have a slight problem here. Women don't even know what a dad bod is. They don't. We have all these like street interviews where they show bodybuilders in off season and they're like, "Oh yeah, dad bod, hot," and I'm like, "Buddy, that's Chris Bumstead, off season. That's a S tier bodybuilder. What is wrong with you?" No. And I'm gonna say this, the harsh reality is, looks still matter. Whether you like it or not.
Female gays? I thought they were called lesbians. Different kind of gays, bro. Something not a lot of people talk about when it comes to self-improvement is the importance of identity. A lot of people not only have a vision for where they want to be in life, but also who they want to become. Self-improvement, in many ways, is not just an exercise in discipline and commitment, but also self-actualization. And it's another reason why LARPing has gotten so popular. A lot of people's goal isn't just to be better in a specific area, but to also achieve a certain lifestyle. This is why you have older dudes calling 20-year-olds big bro. Like, dude, you're 27, cut it out. And this is kind of the issue with self-improvement content, because it turns the act of bettering yourself into a performance rather than a genuine effort. So now there's people who put more energy into pretending to be a grinder than actually grinding. The truth is that the people who really are living the lifestyle probably aren't putting it on the internet. Self-improvement isn't about what you have, it's who you are. Self-improvement requires self-awareness. It's important to have a vision for the future, but you also have to have a plan on how you're gonna get there too. Heard you've been on your grind.
Isn't that literally what I said? It's like people consuming self improvement slot, but actually not doing anything. I literally said that in the beginning, right? And here it is, right? It's like people watch like you gotta like they watch these like David Goggins edits, but they don't actually go for a walk.
Lately, bro. How's that going? Yeah, I'm trying to level up in life. Oh, really? How so? So basically, I want to get a BMW M4, then I want to get a six-pack, then I want to date a model, and then I'm going to buy a house in the hills. Wow, those are some big dreams. How long do you think it's going to take? Like a year, maybe? A year? Maybe like 14 months? Okay. Have you set any tangible, measurable goals to hold yourself accountable? Or is all you want to do is LARP? Goals? Yeah, like you want a BMW. How are you going to get it? Easy. I'm going to be making 100K a month. Doing what? Drop shipping, of course. Do you know anything about drop shipping? Nah, but I have like 20.
Drop shipping's dead. Like, that's just so dead. Like, it's crazy how dead that is, right? Drop shipping is a dead body being consistently kicked even more, right? Drop shipping is dead.
TikToks bookmarked about it. So you have no goals, skills, education, or resources. And all of this is just supposed to work out. You know, bro, I kind of feel like you're hating. They said this will happen in the course. What course? The Lifestyle and Revenue Program. It's $200 a month. Lifestyle and Revenue Program. You bought a LARP course? Well, bro, you're getting scammed. You need to cancel that. But they said they can get me a new Beamer in just 6 months. The thing about self-improvement is that a lot of it is just the same stuff your mom told you growing up. Make your bed, eat vegetables, read. But because some bald guy on the internet told you to do it, you finally listen. There is no real reward when it comes to self-improvement. And if you cheat it, the only person who loses is you. Someone once told me that you don't climb mountains so people can see you at the top. You climb mountains so you can look out and enjoy the view. If you want to make any improvement in your life, the first step is setting some goals and finding out the best way to accomplish them. I used to be a swim instructor, and I once had a student named Gabby who on day one was afraid to even get into the pool. She was convinced that she'd never learn how to swim, but nobody learns how to swim on day one. So I told Gabby,
I can't swim. I'm drowning. Anyways. Duck, can I kick you? You cannot kick me. I will pick you up, shake you, put you down, and then everything is your brain is probably in the right spot again. Why would you commit violence? I'll be gentle. Anyways.
the first thing she needed to do was to not be afraid to put her head underwater. Because like Gabby, when trying something new, I think a lot of us can be afraid to put our heads underwater too. But doing that is the first step to learning how to swim. And each day I had Gabby in my class, we had a new goal. But after 6 weeks of swim lessons, I taught Gabby how to swim. Did she throw up in the pool several times?
And this is arguably also just, right? This video isn't really helping that much either. I blame Ty Lopez, the knowledge guy who rented Lambos and mansions, who really started this type of content. And then a bunch of dudes continued it after he got cooked for faking everything. Yeah, the thing is like also, right, and that needs to be mentioned. This video is obviously not really that helpful either because it doesn't hit the core issues. It's that young men are being left behind. Not just feeling like they're being left behind, like genuinely left behind. It's not a feeling. We are. that is our truth, right? The first step to fixing boys arguably is to put them a year later into school than girls. That is where we have to start. That is technically where we have to start because boys are slower in development than girls. Slightly. They're slightly behind. Yeah, especially with hand-eye coordination. That's why when you, for example, compare like a young girl's handwriting and a young boy's handwriting, you will see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. I will. They want to run around more. You can like look also compare. You can compare a first grade grader to a second grader and how much calmer the second grader is in comparison to the first grader. You can also compare, obviously, first grade girls to first grade boys. They're a lot calmer. And then when you look in kindergarten, right? The kids that are about to go in school, boys and girls, are pretty much behavior wise the same. They want to run around, they want to do stuff, right? That's the first thing we'd arguably have to start with. And then we have to fix our school system. More male teachers. More male role models in the daily life of young boys. Present parents. And I don't mean parents who are like just right. I don't mean parents who are like there. I mean present parents, parents who are actually there. Right? Because right, we now have a lot of children that grow up with parents that are physically there, but they're technically not present, right? Because both parents are working. I think we do need a definite fix for when it comes to that. We need a definite fix of that one parent can consistently stay at home. But that won't work anymore because they cannot get that way. They cannot get more taxes. I don't care who stays at home for a particular duration, whether it's the husband or the wife. It doesn't matter. But one parent has to stay at home. I think that would be the optimal solution. But we're never going to get there because they want the taxes. And then we have to slowly start fixing the economy. And nobody wants to talk about that, about the measurements that need to be taken. Anyways, and then slowly we can rebuild that. On the other side, women who push OF and spirituality, the dumb rock shit, are the female equivalent. Yeah. Right. Spirituality, which also I call space racism, right? With like the signs and shit, the space racism. You get the idea. Yeah, we're in a weird limbo where like younger men are just being cut off, right? Because like right, you can, for example, look, we have like the stats for that. They did do it by voters, I think, right? Democratic young men and Republican young men, as far as I'm aware. I forgot what that chart was. But for both sides, when it comes to young men, most still wanted to have a family and children. And that's currently, I think, one of the major things that is fucking us up. The young men not being able to have families. That's currently one of the major things that is cooking us.
Yes, but we overcame that challenge together with a lot of chlorine. Many people seem to assume self-improvement has to be a solo journey. But in practice, people are a lot more successful when they have a community to support them.
Obviously, that's also a problem. I also find it funny when we talk about the male loneliness epidemic, how that has nothing to do with dating. Right? The initial startup was nothing, right? When it initially emerged, it had nothing to do with dating. It was strictly for men not having communities. Well, now it's both kind of, but men not having communities was the initial start out, which is very interesting, right? Oh, and fixing women is a completely different topic. That's a completely different can of worms because they were lied to. The Gen Z women were lied to. Generally, women were lied to. Right? Feminism told them it's about the choice to make. Well, now you don't have a choice. Now you don't have a choice. Isn't that wonderful? Right? It's about choice. Yeah, my ass is about choice. It's about taxes. It's about taxes and control of our children. Anyways, and being exploited by people who were born richer than you. That's really all that is to it. That's really all this has led to. They've been lied to as well. They just don't want to admit it.
Improvement is ultimately an act of self-care, learning to accept yourself and love yourself. It's not about how much money you have, what car you drive, or how big your muscles are. Be a better person. That's the goal. Thanks.
But see, the deeper issue lies with, is being a better person giving me results? You can say self-improvement is being a better person, which arguably, I agree. But does that give results? The reason why young men fall for liars like Fresh and Fit, which arguably sometimes they are right to a degree, sometimes, or sometimes they are, sometimes they're right, or like right, they can't, right, even a blind chicken sometimes finds something to eat, right, type of thing. The problem is, if being a better person is not getting rewarded, then it does not, then your entire thing, it just falls apart. We can see this. You can say about Caligula what you want. He's gonna die probably, not like soon in the future, in some way, shape, or form due to drug overuse. But young men see that it's working, right? So they try to emulate it. See, if being the better person does not work, then why are you trying to be a better person? OF girls. Other young women see that, so they're going to emulate that because it works. We would need to build a society where doing the right thing because it is the right thing is being rewarded. That is not happening. Now we're here. We had communities, it was called lobbies, where you would make fun of each other and call slurs by 12-year-olds, and they ruined it. There is something to be said that the basically banning, if you want to say that, because that's right. Sometimes it's by law banned. In some countries, by law banned to have male exclusive spaces. This does not count for women, by the way. There can be female exclusive spaces, but there cannot be male exclusive spaces, right? The destruction of mostly male-dominated spaces has resulted in young men not being able to build communities. That is where we are, right? Gaming is a mostly male-dominated space, right? But since we're trying to pander to an audience that does not exist, we are trying to destroy these spaces, and that's what we got. Anyways, to a degree, I agree, but I think our measurements would probably the right. I agree with him, but the way we probably would do it is very different. The way I would solve this is very different. My way would definitely be more of a traditional approach, not a type of like now the how do I say this? The fieldsy type approach. My approach would definitely be like, we gotta fix this shit. I know how, and we're gonna do it, whether they like it or not. That's my type of approach, right? Make essentially nuke paid corn, make paid corn completely like non-existent. That would actually be an interesting approach, right? You can make corn, but you can't monetize it. I wonder how that would work, how that would affect it, right? Right, that way we would essentially eliminate all the OF chicks. Anyways, it's not a matter of F and F being right, it's a matter of common sense statements, like working out and eating right said by F and F. The Tates, etc., being treated like it's crazy new information. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because, right, when they say it, it's like, wow, crazy, new information. Yeah, it's true. It's like right. These are the logical things to do. But now we're here again. Now we're here. But mostly of these things are dead right now. Looks maxing is the big thing. Right now, looks maxing is the big thing. And I wonder how the fallout is that from that, because it really does look like we are the mouse utopia, right? Their end phase was literally like male mice just caring about how they look, and that's it. We are the mouse utopia.